and welcome back to the Motorgraph World channel. My name is Mari. Today we'll be comparing two Korean-made SUVs. The first, Ssangyong Rexton,
and Kia Mohave with BK.
So here we are today with these two SUVs. First, the Ssangyong Rexton and the Kia Mohave, or I think in some markets you'll know it as Borrego. So let's first look at the design of the Rexton first. This was a facelift. After its first release in 2017, you see some design changes that are going on. At first look, I thought that it kind of looked like a dinosaur or a T-Rex. If you look at the grille, it's a little bit of the honeycomb grille going on. And the headlights and the daylight running lamps also are a bit spiked up, so it looks a bit fierce. And the hood also is quite rounded, making it look a little bit more like the dinosaur. Let's go on to the Mohave now. So the Kia Mohave, its first generation, if I remember correctly, was released back in 2008. So it's basically the same age as the iPhone 3G. It has gone through many design changes, and most recently it went through a facelift, and this is the model that you see right now. Why I like this one a little bit better than the Rexton is that it's a bit more streamlined and it feels more consistent to me in terms of the design language. I like the vertical stripes that go on with the lamps as well as the grille. When it first launched, it was quite new to have these kinds of vertical grilles, and it was quite sensational back in the days. So now the side profile. Hi, BK.
Hi, Mari.
So let's look at the wheels first. These are 255/50 are 20-inch wheels and tires that are attached to the Rexton. You can see that they're black and decked out because this is the Rexton all new black model. Personally, like these designs better than the ones that are on the Mohave, but we'll see that later on. You also have the side lines going through the car. I thought that it was nice and clean until I got to this part. They did a little bit of the character lines, which I personally don't really understand. I would have preferred it if it just went all the way through. Also, the third row seats might not have a very good view if you have the third row seats because the windows are very tiny. Other than that, the car on the side looks like it has a presence, that it has a lot of muscle. That is something that I do like. And now BK will show us the side step.
Yeah, this car definitely needs this side step, which comes electric.
Yes.
Whenever you open the door.
It's automatic and electric.
Yes. We really want to mention that this car is one of the tallest SUV made in Korea.
That's right.
So definitely we need this kind of a step.
We're all very short,
Yeah.
so we need that side step. So here is the side profile of the Mohave. I mentioned the wheels on the Rexton. I like them better than the ones that are attached to the Mohave. The Mohave right now, 265/50 are 20-inch wheels and tires. So there's a little bit of a difference in the specifications. I guess that it will give a little bit more traction, but you will really have to see because of the actual mechanics of the car. And now the sidelines. I personally prefer this streamlined one-streak sideline on the Mohave better than the one that we saw on the Rexton, which gives a little bit of the curvature and the volume. This one also has the side step so that you can hop on board. And one more change is that the Mohave has a very wide third row window. So if you do have seats in the third row, then this will come in handy. So now let's look at the rear end of the car. First, the Ssangyong Rexton. Now you have the emblem going through the center, and you also have the rear window wiper at the bottom part here, but that's also the same for the Mohave. And the taillights, you see they are in like a T shape. Maybe the T-Rex comes to mind once again, but both of them are slightly peaked up like the eyes of the T-Rex as well. And you also have these muffler-like design, but in fact, the exhaust is hidden below, so you don't really see the actual exhaust. And now let's look at the Mohave. Compared to the Rexton is slightly curved out, where the Mohave is a little bit flatter. I like this kind of design a bit better for the bigger SUVs. And even with the taillights, the Mohave makes it look as if the taillights is all connected at the back with the Mohave emblem going through the center part. You also have the rear window wiper on the bottom and not the top. And as for the muffler tips here, you have the quad muffler tips on both sides. It's a design feature that some will like. Some think that it's a little bit artificial, but nevertheless, it's also one of the designs that I prefer compared to the Rexton. So now we've popped open the trunk of the Ssangyong Rexton, and let's do the Mari trunk test. It's easy for me to get in now because the trunk is so wide and large, and I can sit in comfortably, so you can really gauge how big that is. You also have the luggage boards here, so you can actually have another layer to put in your luggage. You also have the power outlet here with 12 volts, and you also have a toolbox right here. Take away the cover and you'll find the various tools that you need to change your tires. So as you can see, we folded up the second row seats. The reason why you have these two luggage boards, we presume, is probably because they wanted to have a flatter surface from the trunk all the way to the second row seats. But still, it's not a full 180 flat surface, but you still have a little bit of the gap here, so that's why it's making up for it. And if you need more cargo room for the car, you can fold up your seats, and they also fold this way. Then you get more cargo space. So now we open the trunk of the Mohave. Instantly, you see that the height of the Mohave is slightly shorter than what we saw in the Rexton. The Rexton is, in fact, the tallest SUV in the Korean market. The Mohave is slightly shorter, but still, you get a lot of space. I'm 162 centimeters, so considering that, it's very easy to hop on to the trunk, which means that it will be easy for a lot of people to haul their luggage in and out of the trunk as well. And with the length and the spaciousness of the trunk, I think that it's awesome. You know, you have so much room inside, you have a lot of space, and it's quite flat all the way up until here. You also have the lower compartment. This mat covers it up, but if you lift it up, you have the lower compartment for bits and pieces and your tools. The Mohave also has one power outlet for 12 volts. And you also have these little hinges on both of the sides so that you can hang things up as well. Now let's try folding up the second row seats. And you still see that there is a slight angle once you get to the seating area, but still it looks much flatter and more spacious compared to the Rexton. So now I'm sitting inside the Ssangyong Rexton. The car is very tall, so you naturally get that line of sight and the visibility. However, it may be a little bit inconvenient for some because the side mirrors are attached to the A-pillar. So that might give you a little bit of a blind spot. As for the seats, they're quite big as well, and this is the black edition, so maybe that's why they've decked out the seats a little bit more. You have a little bit of quilting in the side bolsters and then the perforated seats in the middle. As for the seating comfort, I think it's a more of a rigid type. It's not bad, but it's a bit more of a hard type. So on top of the digital dashboard for the housing, it's quite soft, and it's, I think, the type of polyurethane. But then here is a very hard plastic that they've used. The steering wheel is quite slim compared to some other models, and you get the Ssangyong logo in the middle, and it's covered with leather. The material used is quite nice. It's soft leather. And now you have the digital dashboard in the front. You have two round areas where you can see the various different geometrics of the car. And now in the center part, you have the digital screen. This is a 9-inch screen, so compared to the size of the vehicle, it's quite small. But you do have various different controls and navigation on it. But compared to, relatively speaking, with other models out in the market these days, because they have such wide and long screens, you might think that it's a relatively small model. You have the analog buttons down below here for the temperature control and HVAC. And you also have the heated seats as well as seat cooling. In the middle compartment here, you have the phone charger, the wireless phone charger, and 2 cup holders, and a nice center console, which is quite spacious for you to put in your water bottles. And I must say, it's very spacious and comfortable. My legroom, of course, driver's seat position is fixed on my height, so that might give you a little bit more room. For the center tunnel, it's very low. The center seat is very cushiony, so I'm sure that anyone sitting in the center seat will be quite comfortable. You also have the 12-volt power outlet at the back, and you have 2 USB ports here. And now for the armrest. I think this armrest comes down a little bit more than the regular angle. You have 2 cup holders and quite a comfortable armrest. And the seats also come with the same as the front row seats, half quilted, half perforated, and the top part with the suede material. The seat also go back almost all the way, or it's a very comfortable seat rest at the back. So now I'm sitting inside the Mohave, and let's first take a look at the visibility and the line of sight. The housing for the digital panel as well as the digital dashboard is bulging upwards, and so it kind of hinders my line of sight. It might be because I'm short, but still, with my seat adjusted, I feel that this is just a barrier to the clean line of sight that it might have for the car. And now for the seat comfort. I think compared to the Rexton, they are a little bit more cushiony. You have the quilted seats in the middle, and you have the perforated seats on the side bolsters. So that's completely opposite from what we saw on the Rexton, which had quilting on the side bolsters and the perforated seats in the middle. It's not one of those highly cushiony seats, but compared to the Rexton, it's a bit softer. And now the steering wheel. The steering wheel is also wrapped with leather. It's nice to grip, and I like the feel of it. And even with the center part, it made it look like it's leather, but in fact, it's plastic. And they've also decked out the interior with these wood veneers. I think that this will be quite controversial among the consumers. Some will think that it's very luxurious, while some might think that it's a bit old looking. I do like the horizontal long digital panel that they've used. And down here below, you also have the analog buttons, which I like very much. And also the temperature controls down here. It's quite intuitive in what you would expect from a car. So first you have the map, navigation, and so forth. And then below that you have the temperature controls. And here you also have the wireless charger inside, and you can cover it up if you don't want to look at it. There is a lot of controversy about this high gloss plastic that they use at Kia and Hyundai because it is a dust magnet. Even now you can see how dirty it became with just a couple of openings and closings of the door. It's really just a dust magnet and a hassle to clean. Gear knob right here, and 2 cup holders, and also the different driving modes. And the center console is quite deep. You would probably be able to store maybe about 4 water bottles inside. So now I'm in the second row seats of the Mohave. It feels a bit tighter compared to the second row seats of the Rexton, probably because of the ceiling height as well as the legroom. It feels much more of a smaller car. And the center tunnel, I think this one even has a lower center tunnel. And the center seat, not too bad, but the Rexton had really comfortable, cushiony seats, but this one is a little bit harder than that. You also have the armrest here. It comes down fully, so it kind of touches the seat. And if you pop this open, then you have 2 cup holders. Now for the center console, you have the two air vents as well as the two USBs. But here you also have a 220 volt plug-in that you can use from the back seat. And now for the tilt of the back seats, this is as far as it goes. It's quite comfortable. But one thing, I can't find the side controls where you can adjust your seat. You have to use this lever to adjust the incline. So now we're on the road with PK and myself, and today I don't have to drive. And we're in?
We are in Kia Mohave.
That's right.
This car is equipped with V6 3-liter diesel turbocharged engine, while the Ssangyong Rexton is equipped with 2.2-liter inline 4-cylinder diesel.
I see. So in theory, which one is supposed to be the better option?
Oh, for sure, V6.
Definitely,
V6
right?
will
Yes.
be the king of the diesel. Because inline 4 diesel, they have weakness.
That's right.
Yeah, vibration and noise. Usually for the luxury class, Kia Mohave is actually the top range of the Kia SUV lineup.
That's right.
So this car was the first vehicle that Hyundai Kia Group put the V6 diesel powertrain.
And it was quite a big hit as well.
Yes.
But in fact, we just started off and BK and I were both saying that it's kind of, we can't really actually believe that it's a V6 engine because the ride comfort and the noise level is quite high.
It's a little bit out of our expectation.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't expect the Mohave to perform this way. We will test the Rexton right afterwards, but from the get-go, from the start, I think the Mohave was a little disappointing in terms of the noise level and the comfort level.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the platform of this body.
Yes.
Because this Kia Mohave and Ssangyong Rexton as well, they are kind of Korean-made G-Wagon.
That's right.
Yeah,
Oh,
because this Mohave was first introduced in 2008.
That's
Yes,
right.
And Rexton 2001.
One.
Yeah, so Rexton is almost 20 years old, and now it's just second generation.
It's a second generation after its initial launch in 2017.
Yeah.
So now we're on a slightly winding road up the mountain, going uphill. How do you feel with the responsiveness of the car?
It has quite responsive steering feel. When you try to turn the steering wheel, the nose feels quite light and very agile.
Oh, really?
That's something that I didn't expect
exactly.
at all.
The car doesn't actually look as if it will be that agile in terms of the cornering. But
Usually for this kind of a body on frame off-road SUVs, they have very low gear ratio for the steering wheel. So that means you need to turn a lot in order to make certain turning angle. But this one, I think that this one has more aggressive steering gear ratio. It almost handles like a big sedan.
Oh, okay.
It's very responsive to the steering wheel angle.
And just with the sound as well, there is a lot of SUVs that sometimes you really hear the engine revving, having a hard time. But this one was okay.
Yes, this V6 gives you quite a lot of torque in the low range RPM.
That's right.
And it has a 8-speed gearbox. The overall powertrain, they can hold a very low range of the RPM, even though we are going uphill. But the ride comfort, this is a little bit disappointing.
I know. I can actually literally feel the road through my seats.
Yes. And as soon as you hit a very little bumpy surface,
you completely feel it all the way.
Yes. You know, it has a very responsive steering, but the overall the movement of the car is not that fast.
Yeah.
The load transfer is quite slow. So there is a kind of a mismatching.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, from the steering wheel to the whole movement of the vehicle, movement of the chassis.
I mean, I think that it's all of a mismatch. For me, having a V6 engine on a model like the Mohave was the first surprise. And then the ride comfort, considering the V6 engine, was the second surprise.
Yeah.
And then and then looking at the cornering and having seen that agility is another surprise. So the Mohave is full of surprises, everyone.
It's been about 10 kilometers trip, and the average fuel consumption is 10.5 kilometers per liter.
It's the biggest car in the Kia lineup. Yeah. So considering that, I think the mileage is pretty good.
So we are getting out of the winding road and hitting the freeway.
Let's just see how fast it can go. When it goes faster,
it gets better.
It gets better.
Yes.
Another surprise.
That's a common character from the very heavy vehicle.
That's true, yes.
Yeah, once you get higher speed, the speed momentum gets bigger and the suspension should do less work.
Yes.
But the wind noise, it's quite big from around this A-pillar.
Exactly.
Yeah, the design-wise, it's so obvious. Okay, then we should reduce to 100 kilometers per hour.
Still 68.
68.
Yeah.
And still I can hear
the wind. Yeah. Normally on the quieter cars, what we felt with the decibels was it was around the late 50s or early 60s.
Yeah.
But this one, you have 68 at 100 kilometers per hour. So it is slightly noisier inside.
Okay. So the rev keeps about 1500 RPM on 100 kilometers per hour cruise. The final gear ratio is tuned for the high fuel economy on long distance highway cruising.
Okay, now we're going off-road and it's completely sandy.
This whole sand area was covered by the river.
Yes, covered with water.
Yeah, covered with the water a long time ago.
And you hear the sound and you feel the tires working.
Yes. For the off-road terrain mode, it has 3 different modes. Snow, mud, and sand.
Yes.
And today we are gonna hit the sand surface.
Yes.
It's quite deep sand, so once we get stuck, I'm not quite sure we can get back home.
Yeah, I'll just get out of the car and you and you can try and get out with the car.
Okay. Kia Mohave does not have a very aggressive attack angle, approach angle, so I'm not quite sure that this little dip here will not touch the front bumper. Okay, so far so good. Driving in off-road is all about slow and steady.
Yes.
Okay.
Hold your breath.
Okay, so we had a little scratch from the rear bumper.
And a big push.
Another dip here. And you can actually hear that the upper body, the body shell is a little bit
twisting. Yes.
Because the frame is quite rigid and solid, but the relatively the upper body is
a bit more flexible.
Yes.
Yeah.
There should be a camera view option. So in this kind of condition that you can barely see the in front.
Exactly.
So you can use the camera.
Because the car is tilted upwards, you don't see what's in front of you. So you have the camera option to verify what kind of obstacles are in front of you.
Yes.
Oh, and there's a steep decline.
Steep decline.
It's like riding a roller coaster.
Okay. So
you think we can make it?
There should be. Oh, there's no hill descent. Okay, I thought
no hill descent.
No,
there is.
Yes.
Okay. So the hill descent actually controls the car so that it doesn't become a dangerous situation.
Yes. So, okay, let it scratch from the underneath the bumper. But anyway.
Yes, but we're safe and sound.
Yes. So that was quite steep one.
That was, yes.
Yeah. And then we need to check the ride comfort on the off-road side. What do you feel?
Okay. No comfort.
There's no comfort.
No comfort at all. But I mean, it's gravel. It's it's a very rocky terrain. The ground clearance, though, I think the Rexton has a slightly higher ground clearance compared to the Mohave
that's
too.
True.
Yeah.
Basically, body on frame gives you higher ground clearance than the unibody system. That's one big merit of this body on frame.
Yeah.
But between those two contenders, Ssangyong goes a little bit higher.
That's right.
Yeah. And it has more approach angle and departure angle. So this Mohave is, even though this car is based on body on frame, but the overall concept of the Kia Mohave is tuned for on-road driving.
Yeah, urban driving. Then it has off-road and these kinds of SUV capabilities.
Yes.
And now uphill. Nice.
This is
Camera
very
view.
handy.
It's very useful, yes. So is this using the same camera as your front and rear view camera for parking?
Yes.
Oh, I see.
So it has 4 cameras on each side, front, side, and back.
And back. I must say, for these hilly terrains, up and down, this is a very comfortable ride. I mean, apart from the gravel that we just passed, if it goes off-road, if you're the right driver for an off-road, then I think that it's okay, and it has the right capabilities.
This is quite sandy, steep, uphill.
Yes.
Do you think we can make it?
I think we might get stuck halfway up, but we'll try.
Now it's time to put the low range gear.
Yes, that's right.
Which will give you 2.5 times more torque and less speed. You can control very delicately with your throttle. Then you see that.
What did I say?
But it keeps going.
Will it make it?
So this car does not have the central diff locking, which can manage the torque between the left and right.
Yes.
It can only lock the center diff that
on
goes
both,
from
right.
So the rest of the thing should be done by each ABS, the brake system.
Yes.
So they can hold each wheel to send the torque to the other side.
To the other side.
Yes. But just one more try.
All right.
This will be the comparison between this car and the
Ssangyong
Rexton.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
No.
It's trying. It's trying, but it can't. Yep.
So this was not a super hardcore, but it was more than medium difficulty level.
Yep.
Anyway, we're
out.
We are out.
We're out, and we're going safely back.
Yeah.
So the engine and its capability, off-road capability, I think we were able to test various different functions. So we're in the Ssangyong Rexton.
Yes.
I think some people overseas might say Ssangyong or
Ssangyong.
Yeah. But in Korean, it means double dragon. So,
yes, double dragon.
We mentioned when we were in the Mohave that this has a different type of engine.
The thrusting power.
Yes.
And the noise of the engine.
The noise level, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's even quieter than 6-cylinder
Yes,
contender,
exactly.
Right? I don't know why, but this inline 4-cylinder 2.2 liter which produce about 202 horsepower
Uh-huh.
and 45 kilogram meter of the torque.
Yes.
And this car's weight is even lighter than the Kia Mohave,
That's
almost
right.
140 kilograms lighter than the Kia Mohave. So
Mm.
the overall feeling of this car is very natural.
Yeah. And I personally don't like diesel engines because of their distinctive sound.
Yeah.
For this Rexton, I don't really feel that it's the distinctive diesel sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very quiet and it's quite refined. Even when the cornering, I don't feel as much rolling from side to side that we felt on the Mohave.
Yeah.
Even though it's a taller vehicle.
Yes, yes. It's a matter of the center of the gravity of the vehicle.
That's
'cause,
right.
The overall height is taller than the Mohave. It seems like this chassis gives you a lower center of gravity.
And more stability.
Yes, more stability. And this is something that we really didn't expect
Yes.
from this car.
I think that we had a bias. The engine, as well as maybe the maker of the vehicles.
Yeah.
We just definitely expected Kia's SUV to be a little bit more, to borrow PK's words, elegant on the road. But I think it's quite the opposite.
And this car also has the same 8-speed automatic transmission provided by the Hyundai Transys.
Yes.
The same manufacturer the Kia Mohave is using.
And the suspension?
The suspension, basically the double wishbone, the same double wishbone for both contender and the multi-link system. Even though this car is based on the body on frame, it does not have like a solid axle or live axle, so it gives you more comfortable drive.
More flexibility. I
Yes,
think.
more flexibility, and usually you can feel that there is a different rate of the vibration from the upper body and the lower body, but in this car the total body feels like one solid block.
Yes, one thing that I kind of felt while sitting in the passenger seat of the Mohave, sometimes you would hear sounds as if iron parts were coming together and they were squeaking.
I have no idea how Ssangyong came to this level of comfort and
Yes.
perfection
Yeah.
of the body, because they didn't have enough investing money
Yeah.
for the totally new structure.
Yeah.
Given that hard time,
It's a great car.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
car. Really, it's
Yeah.
a great car. And the fuel economy shows almost 12 kilometers per liter.
So almost 2 kilometers
Yes.
per liter more
Yes.
than the Mohave. And now we're testing the speed here
Okay.
on the freeway.
And the speed goes on quite smoothly and easily.
Oh wow. You don't really feel that we're going at such a high speed right now.
So the speed feels much slower.
Yes,
in the
exactly.
cabin. Yeah. What is the noise level?
The noise level right now was 72,
72.
but
Okay.
in the Mohave when we were going at this rate, it was almost 78.
Okay.
So it's definitely much more quieter
Yeah.
compared to the Mohave.
Yeah. For the wind noise, if you cruise around 100 kilometers per hour, you barely hear any wind noise around the A-pillar. And the tire noise as well.
Yes, it's very, very soft.
Yeah, it's very soft, calm, and since it has a huge outside dimension, then it's quite surprising result.
So now we're going to test the off-road capabilities.
So we engage the four-wheel drive high mode.
Yes, and we're going to the same route that we did with the Mohave.
This car has higher ground clearance, but since it has shorter wheelbase, it means it has longer overhang.
That's right.
I think the rear bumper slightly scratches the ground.
Yes.
But it's okay.
Oh, but we didn't hear that much of a scratch.
Yeah. And it feels like it has more longer stroke of the suspension geometry. I mean,
Yes.
the longer articulation. Rear bumper, will it touch the ground?
Yes,
a
it
little
did.
bit. A little bit.
A little bit.
Oh, and the low end torque is quite impressive.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is just inline 4.
Yeah.
2.2 liter, but under the 1500 RPM, it still gives quite good amount of the torque. It does not feel any difference between those V6 and the Kia Mohave.
And now the steep hill down.
Yeah, it's very stiff.
It is. It's very steep. Okay. Oh, now we test the gravel.
Yes. See?
Much more comfortable.
Yeah.
So much more comfortable compared to the Mohave.
Yeah, in the Kia Mohave, it was like you were dancing,
yeah,
right?
right. But I mean, in this one, it of course you feel the gravel, but it's still much more comfortable.
Yeah, but the only big noise that you can hear is the
camera.
From the camera
Exactly.
mounting.
Yeah. Wow. The chassis, the suspension, the total body framework, I think that it is a winner.
Yes, and the real good thing about this car is that even on this quite very bumpy surface, the whole chassis feels like it's only one unit.
Now we have one more test. The one that Mohave could not pass.
And also in this Rexton, we have surround view camera system. So you can see over this hill, without getting out of the car and check the surface.
Exactly.
That's quite traditional off-road protocol.
Yes.
With this camera system, you don't need to.
You don't need to get in and out of the car.
Right.
And this was just a very smooth and easy hill to go over.
Enough power.
Yeah.
We'll try the hill descent.
Control
system now on. Yeah, I'm not using brake at all, but the car keeps the speed under 5 kilometers per hour.
I see. The car is controlling it.
Yes. So only thing that you focus is just steering.
The steering, yes.
I have a feeling that I don't need to put 4-wheel drive low range.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I can do it with 4-wheel high.
Let's try it.
See, the phone is over there.
Oh. Okay.
Can we go? Yeah, it goes.
Oh, it goes.
It goes.
Oh.
Yeah, we haven't used this.
Exactly. We
yet.
didn't even use the low range, and it just needed a little push.
It's done.
And it's done. We're on top of the hill. I told you that I thought that Rexton would be a better off-roader.
Whoa,
nice.
This difference?
Wow. So a big win for the Rexton, even on off-road.
Yeah. How come is this possible?
I know. I mean, the specifications don't make sense.
All the numbers, all the figures, it was definitely win for Kia Mohave.
Exactly.
It turned out to be totally opposite.
Totally opposite and totally surprising.
Yeah.
So guys, what did you think about our review? Our comparison between the Kia Mohave and the Ssangyong Rexton? Well, BK, what did you think?
Everything went out of our expectation all through the test. So I really want to tell you that the figures and numbers don't tell all about cars.
Definitely, specifications are not the end of the story. I personally still like the Kia Mohave in terms of design, but in terms of the ride, when we rode out the Rexton, it was completely a winner. It totally blew my mind. So thank you once again for watching, and post a lot of your comments down below, and see you next time. This is Mari.
And this is BK. Bye-bye.
Bye.